Good evening. 4 more inventions for you tonight from all over Australia. We'll look at a car boat loader, a lock to immobilize a trailer, a sofa that converts into a bed, and a new method of riveting. Any of the inventions that appear on the series are eligible to appear on the final program this year, where we're going to choose the inventor for 1978. He'll receive a cheque for $3,000 from the Rural Bank and perhaps even win one of the specialist prizes that we have. Industrial innovation developers will fly the winner across to Geneva to our stand at the International Exhibition of Inventions. You know, Australia is a very inventive country. In fact, there are more patent applications lodged in Australia each year than in any other country. And so our last inventive man this evening comes from Brisbane. His invention is eligible for the William Adams Prize. This is a new method of riveting using solid rivets to join 2 or more pieces of material. This machine is air-driven. The rivets are placed into a feeder and the metal placed below. A press control positions the rivet over the job, and a second signal delivers it down, piercing the material, clinching it, and returning for the next cycle. The result is a fixing with a flush finish. Each rivet is forced down on this hardened tool, which splays it 3 ways. The shear strength is great because of the flared hole produced. This section can be built into various machines. In this case, the system is used to fasten rungs on ladders. It could be used in steel house frames, caravans, or grain silos. The ladder rung is positioned between the uprights. A hopper sorts the rivets and blows them into the tooling part of the press cycle. This method requires no pre-drilling or pre-aligning of holes. I'd like you to meet Ralph Fuhrmeister. And you were a toolmaker, or you're still a toolmaker?
Still a toolmaker.
My impression about this is, it looks simple once you've done it, but I'll bet you spent a lot of time, didn't you, working this one out?
About 4 years.
I thought so. Did it cost a great deal to develop it to this stage?
With patent costs a great amount of money.
Yes, I thought it might, too. It's enough to put you right off being an inventor, really, isn't it? But anyway, it's a very riveting system, I like. Neville, what about your comments?
Indeed. Well, I see a number of advantages here, and I guess the crux of the machine is this small tooled item that fits under the specimen that's to be riveted. The rivet is pressured through the 2 pieces of metal to be riveted, and as we've been told, there's a flush finish, and we can see the flush finish there. I would imagine if these surfaces had been coated with something, the coating wouldn't have been damaged at all by the rivet being pressed through. It's pressed through under hydraulic pressure or by air pressure. Then as the rivet emerges from its new position, it meets this little job, and it's split actually into 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. And also it is very cunningly devised so that the metal itself, as it's pushed through, and that is the metal of the pieces that are being joined, is also formed by a small recess in the top of the tool there. And the result is that we have a splayed rivet on this side here, together with a nice looking piece of protruded metal, which all fits together to give a very solid joint with a very high shear stress, I would think.
Yes, but why do you need to split them?
Well, otherwise they'd come out again, I should think.
Well, all right then. You've done a new device, Ralph. What do they do now? What did they do? When I think of rivets, I think of aeroplane wings and a mass of rivets.
They're currently welding.
Welding, yes.
And pop riveting.
Well, what does this do? What does this save? Time,
it
cost,
saves
energy?
on time, and the fastener is extremely cheap, and it's unskilled labour to assemble it.
Where are they used?
We hope they'll be used in steel house frames.
Steel? Oh, yes, I saw one in Tamworth the other day. Yes.
And possibly all sorts of assembly techniques for household appliances.
Ah. Well, will they, like our split nuts that won our last invention of the year, give you more strength and security?
We hope they do, yes.
Better than the existing ones?
Yes.
There you are.
Well, I saw this at an international engineering exhibition in Melbourne last year. I think it was the first time you put it on. Yes. I thought it should go on the Inventors. I'm pleased to see you didn't think about it. I've never seen anything quite like this, and I presume you have managed to patent it.
Yes, we've patented it in about 13 countries.
Now, I presume that a number of people saw this at that exhibition. Have you had inquiries from various companies, and are you, in fact, deriving some interest from production engineers and factories and so on?
Yes, we have many companies come to us, and we made a machine for an appliance manufacturer who's mounting a motor base.
They're putting the motor base into a machine
Yes.
on a production line.
Right.
Would you be able to apply this in a multiple situation where you could put numbers of rivets in at once on a production line?
In our own ladder, we're producing 8 rivets at one time into one run
Right.
in approximately 3 seconds.
And you mentioned an advantage in terms of cost. Could you give me any idea of the difference between this, say, and a pot rivet situation?
That rivet costs approximately 6 cents to 9 cents a thousand, which is much less than any other fastener on the market.
Fascinated to see this piece of engineering idea come from Queensland. It's a very interesting one.
Yeah, I think it's a beauty.
Complete riveting process in one stroke.
There you are.
Oh.
Ralph, it looks to me as though you're pretty much geared to go ahead, are you? Have you got to that stage yet?
We have produced a few small
Sort of test
machines,
ones, yeah.
but the produced machine we haven't investigated yet.
So will you need help in this area, do you think?
We wouldn't knock it back.
Bet you will. Good luck to you. I think you're onto a winner there. Anyway, congratulations. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Before I ask our panel to vote on tonight's winner, perhaps we should recap on what we have seen. First of all, Eric Webb's boat loader from Sydney, Stuart Nevitt's trailer lock from Melbourne, Tom Pringle's Bofa sofa from Melbourne, and Ralph Fuhrmeister's riveter from Brisbane. All right, Vic, nobody can accuse me of saying that you're going to get first crack of the whip.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm interested because there are a couple of true inventions here tonight, I think. I think the boat loader is a unique idea, and I haven't seen this anywhere. And there are millions of people, I think, who would be very interested in that if they had a car rather than a wagon. I'm fascinated by this rivet concept because it, to me, is unique also. And I'm pleased to say both of them have international situations. So I'm rather torn. I see an immediate market for the boat loader. I see this as a long-term market, and because it's from such an unusual place and because it is so interesting to me, I'm going to give it to the pot riveter.
All right. I thought for a minute you were going to have 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
I've done that once.
Yes, I know you have. Diana.
Oh, me? Well, I'm absolutely torn apart too. We're having a great tearing night, aren't we? I think they're all super inventions tonight, and I'm exactly in agreement with my chum here on the right. I do think the boat loader is unique. I'm just looking down the list. The trailer lock was certainly very new. The sofa is ingenious for small apartments and so on, and the riveting system. But I have to agree. I go for this riveting system, which is stronger and safer and all those good things.
All right, fine. Neville, I mean, you can't really change the verdict, but at any rate,
You can have a go.
Well, I guess I've been outvoted. But I really am very partial to the boat loader.
Yes.
I think there are so many problems with boat trailers, unsatisfactory axle bearings, spills on the road, that the opportunity to get a boat out of the water by oneself, have it in a safe position on the back of the boat, of the car, really appeals to me.
Yes, it is a good one.
So I'm going to go for the boat loader.
All right, but just the same, even though you do, Ralph Fuhrmeister is tonight's winner with his riveting system. He comes from Queensland, and from us, you receive this, a heritage capsule. We'll also give you this and a photograph of the world to start off your collection about the beginning of your invention. Who knows, maybe 150 years' time, somebody might open that and say, oh, he invented that, did he? There you are. Anyway, from us, congratulations. To all of you, well, good night. Good evening. Well, this is the last programme in the 1978 series of the Inventors. In the past 9 years, the programme has been watched by millions of Australians each week, and approximately 70% of the inventions reach the market. Many have been successfully exported. 6 finalists have been chosen, and our panel will have to decide who will be the Inventor of the Year. Whoever it is will receive the ABC Award and a place at the 7th International Exhibition of Inventions held in Geneva. He will also receive $3,000 from the Rural Bank, and industrial innovation developers will fly him to Switzerland. The judges can award 100 points, and they'll be given for originality, was the problem worth solving, practicability of manufacturing and marketing, is it the best of its type, and will it improve our standard of living? But before we meet the finalists, I'd like to announce the winners of the 9 specialist categories. Each of these winners will receive a cheque for $1,000. But now let's move on to Programme 8 for our next finalist. This is a new method of riveting using solid rivets to join 2 or more pieces of material. This machine is air-driven. The rivets are placed into a feeder and the metal placed below. A press control positions the rivet over the job and a second signal delivers it down, piercing the material, clinching it and returning for the next cycle. The result is a fixing with a flush finish. Each rivet is forced down onto this hardened tool, which splays it 3 ways. The shear strength is great because of the flared hole produced. This section can be built into various machines. In this case, the system is used to fasten rungs on ladders. It could be used in steel house frames, caravans or grain silos. The ladder rung is positioned between the uprights. A hopper sorts the rivets and blows them into the tooling part of the press cycle. This method requires no pre-drilling or no pre-aligning of holes. Ralph Fuhrmeister comes from Brisbane. Good evening, Ralph.
Good evening.
Congratulations on being here tonight. I was out in Griffith a few weeks ago and a fellow came up to me and said, "That riveting machine, I want one for my small factory operations." I guess you've had a lot of other people asking the same question.
Many, many letters from all over Australia.
That's tremendous. So you're going into production?
Yes, send us a problem. We'll try and design a tool to suit.
Terrific. All right, Neville.
Yes, I think it's a great invention, Ralph. It requires no drilling. As you said, you just put the 2 pieces of metal together and zoom, through it goes. A solid rivet, which is not new in itself, but this is a special high tensile steel rivet which is forced through the material. It comes out the other side and then it comes in contact with this ingenious device of yours which splays it 3 ways. And this gives it tremendous shear strength. You can't rotate it really because there are 3 items there that prevent rotation. And at present you're putting this into operation, aren't you? You're manufacturing ladders and you're using this system in your manufacturing of the ladders.
That's right.
And what you have patented really is the procedure by which you compress this through the metal and splay it the other side.
That's
and
right.
you're willing to sell this invention to any production line or install it in any production line that would use this very, very efficient riveting method, such as in caravans, in steel-framed houses, ladders, and, as you're doing, and other areas.
What about big jumbo aircrafts? All I think about are rivets that I look out on the wings of the planes and ships. Would this be useful for that as well?
We haven't investigated that far.
You'd need a big machine for a jumbo, wouldn't you? Ralph, are all rivets solid? Is this completely new?
No, there are other types of rivets, but the method of putting it through is what is quite new.
I think, Diana, what this does is allow someone in a production situation, like
Yes.
someone building washing machines or whatever, to put together parts without having to align them or have holes put in them
yes,
beforehand.
you can see
Is
that.
that right?
So
That's right.
it just
yeah.
happens. So it's quicker, faster, safer, and it'll, safer, yes, and it'll replace welding, certain riveting, and all that screwing into place.
Quite right, yes.
Just that little fellow. Look, he's ready to market.
Well, it's going to cost less in many production situations, isn't it?
Because of labour savings and tooling costs, the actual rivet is much cheaper.
But you, of course, are in the situation where you've got to build machines to suit a production situation, haven't
Yes,
you?
everyone so far has been a specialised tool.
Yeah. But it's going well.
Very good, yes.
Ralph, there's just one thought I had. You've patented here, obviously, because you couldn't come on the programme and
Yes.
be with us. What about around the world? Because it's such an easy little fellow to pinch.
We've got it covered in 15 countries at the moment, industrial
You've
countries.
thought ahead,
What
haven't
about
you?
pre-painted, pre-surfaced parts?
Well, in that case, it does not destroy the coating at all.
Which, of course, are weld wood or...
Quite right.
Other forms of
That's
riveting
where
wood.
it finds a lot of applications.
Great.
The rivet itself is coated with zinc to prevent rust.
Zinc coated, we probably could paint it as well, so therefore it'd match with other pre-painted materials.
Does it mean because it splays 3 ways that it is stronger, like Pat Williams' split nut, you know? It was so simple, but...
Yes, we claim because of the shear strength it is stronger than other methods.
Well, Ralph, you've
there
got
it
this
is.
one off the ground. I understand you're working on a portable version too, isn't that right?
That's right, yes.
Will that take you long, do you think?
We hope it's soon.
Terrific. Well, congratulations. I must now ask the panel how they're going to score your invention. Once again, Neville.
Well, I've given you 82, Ralph. I think it scores very well in being the best of its type, and it's extremely original.
Yeah.
Diana.
86 for me. I think it's extremely original. I think it has enormous potential. You haven't got one for the jumbo yet, but you'll have all sorts of movable ones, and I think it's terrific.
Victor.
Well, I gave it 80. I think it's excellent from a practicality of production point of view, and from a marketing point of view, I think you should do well.
Thank you very much.
Well, that gives us a total of 248. And just recapping, that gives Pat Williams' wheelchair 253, which still keeps him in the lead. It brings Ralph Fuhrmeister into second place with 248, and John Bigger's cattle spare in third place with 233. Now, from programme 10 came our next finalist. The tracking system is activated by a tube here and one on the other side. These pipes are airtight. When the sun shines on one tube more than the other, the air inside will expand. The air will activate this diaphragm, which will in turn operate a three-way control valve, allowing mains water pressure to enter the hydraulic cylinder and turn the unit. In the center of the collector is a sealed tube from which the air has been evacuated. One end is inside the storage tank. A small quantity of water in the tube boils and steam is created. This flows to the lowest pressure area, which is the coldest, that inside the tank. Here, the steam recondenses into water and in the process gives up its latent heat. The liquid runs back down the tube and the cycle is complete. Each morning, the mirror resets itself. Dave Little comes from Mount Isa. I'm sure many of you will remember that. Welcome from Mount Isa. Dave, you know already that you've won the Apex Club Award. What you might not know is that not only have you won $1,000, they've also given you $2,000 to continue the development. Now, I understand you've just done a modification which now brings you up to date.
Yes, we're very pleased with the way the machine is going, and I must thank that Apex.
My word.
That's wonderful.
Will the $2,000 pay for the latest?
It will. It will.
You're in front. You're in front. Vic, what do you think?
Well, I'm very interested in its application first. Now, a lot of people looking at this might see it in terms of, say, a domestic application only.
Yes.
Now, would it be possible to set it up in modules for, say, industrial or farm applications as well?
It certainly would. In fact, we think that industrial applications will probably be the smaller side of the market, and we think we made a poor choice in going for the domestic market first. It's the most difficult market, but at the same time it proves the system is viable for industrial applications. The no other tracking mechanism could conceivably be considered even for a domestic system.
Tracking gives you a couple of advantages, as I understand it. One is that it is more efficient because it's making the greatest use of the solar energy available on any given day. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Another is that it produces from this, as I understand it, something like 4 times, am I right?
At least 3 times.
Three
we only
times.
claim 3 times.
The heat of a standard square panel.
Well, 3 times
system.
the efficiency. Three times the efficiency.
Neville, do you understand all that?
Tell me how it works.
It's a very efficient way of transporting heat. It's called a heat pipe.
Yes.
And firstly, you would wonder, because it's at a vacuum, the water which initially boils because of the solar energy would boil at below 100 degrees C.
That's right.
And you say to yourself, how on earth can a fluid that's boiling below 100 degrees centigrade actually boil water in a tank?
Yes.
But, of course, as the temperature increases, then the pressure inside the tube increases and the boiling point of the water increases. And so as the whole system heats up, it's working at a much higher temperature.
Why doesn't it burst?
No, but, the pressure isn't that high.
Okay.
But I think what is most important about this system is that the heating fluid, the water is used as a heating fluid, is not the fluid that's used. The heat pipe is used to heat a tank of water. This could be salt water.
That's correct.
And the salt water doesn't move over the solar absorbers in the same way that many solar heaters do.
Where is it?
So
It's
impure
it's
water
separate.
wouldn't damage the
No.
parts. Is that right,
Impure
Dave?
water.
That's correct.
And you could use it for desalination. You could use it to distill over bore water that was
That's
brackish.
correct.
And
Yes, just a second. If I want to go away and I've got a great big property and I'm using your system, do I have to cover the solar system, or will it just go on bubbling and then the tank will do something?
There's no necessity to do anything really.
What do I do?
If you were at all concerned about it, you could turn the water supply off and it simply stops tracking. But in any case, it could operate without drawing any water off for probably 6 months before the...
Dave, is it dangerous? I mean,
No.
if there are children playing around, it's got to go out in a garden or something.
There's absolutely no danger.
It isn't dangerous. And one other thought, conversely, people out in the country have to turn generators on to make refrigerators work because they have to buy deep freeze foods.
That's right.
Could you use your system to work refrigerators?
We certainly could. That's the next field that we'll be developing an application for it, using what they call the absorption principle of refrigeration on the same system as gas and kerosene
It costs
fridges
less
work.
and it works extremely
Well,
well.
I'm just
That's
curious,
correct.
have you compared it with the currently available solar cell situation in terms of cost for the home?
For solar cells, there's
Well,
no...
solar
the
units.
conventional flat plate
units.
systems will be approximately the same price, a little bit less in price, but our system being much more efficient, there'll be many fewer times when the electric booster will cut in.
So it
and
reduces
we'll be
the
using
need
less,
for mains, grid system power.
use much less power.
Dave, I must ask our panel once again to vote on your invention tonight. And once again, let me start with Neville. Your score, please.
Well, I've given Dave 88. I think it scores particularly well in the improvement of our standard of living and its applicability as far as not only heating water but desalination. It's a heat sensing device, can be used in fire protection systems. I think is great.
Right.
88.
Diana.
Hold on to your hat. 96. Because in every possible way it answers what I've had to vote on. And the application is worldwide, whether it's in space or on the ground or wherever you can use it. So you get 96 from me.
Vic.
Well, I gave Dave 90. I think it is certainly a problem worth solving, and I think it is now at a point where it's practical to manufacture, which it wasn't really when we first saw it. And I think it's the best of its type that I've seen.
All right, well, that gives Dave Little a score of 274. And just recapping, that gives a wheelchair 253, it gives the spare 233, it gives 248 to Ralph Fuhrmeister's riveting system, and now puts Dave in the lead with 274 points. All right, well, 3 weeks after Dave was on this programme, we discovered a new way of making a cement house. 40 tons of steel makes up the mould for an all-concrete house. The moulds are bolted together. All materials used are easily transported to the site. 8 unskilled men can assemble a 12-square house in 1 day. The concrete is sprayed at high pressure into the metal framework and compacted by pneumatic vibration. Using this method of building, 8 men could complete a 12-square house in 5 days. The mould includes the roof. All electrical conduit and plumbing is preset. The interior of the mould has an epoxy coating, but before pumping the concrete, it is given an additional coating of oil. 24 hours after pouring, the moulds can be removed. There are 57 design variations of moulds. This house has no guttering. The wall finish is very good and ready for painting. Once the doors and windows have been added and wiring and plumbing connected, the house is ready to be occupied. John Roach comes from Sydney, and congratulations on winning the Royal Australian Institute of Architects Prize.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Terrific, that really is great. I remember we discussed at the time that you thought you'd have an export market for that. Do you still feel you have?
Oh, we're very, very confident, yes,
yeah?
particularly after the last program.
Did it do you any good?
Yes, we got a very encouraging response from the local market as well.
I'm very, very pleased to hear it. Diana's got 2 there. I'm sure she'll want one of each.
Yes. Well, I don't see why not. Good evening, John.
Hello, Diana.
I want to ask you about standards. Do you have to make those panels to a specific height or weight?
Well, the steel moulding system is just a structural steel panel.
Yes.
That's how they're fixed together, but they're 9 foot high, 8 foot 6, 9 foot high is a typical standard height.
So that's okay. My professor told me it was called an injection moulding machine.
I've given you 82, and I think you score very heavily in practicability of marketing and manufacturing.
Diana.
I've got him scoring high in that. I give him 79. I think it's a great idea, and underdeveloped countries will want them, I hope, by the thousand.
And Vic?
I give him 85. I think it's a problem worth solving here and in the third world, and I think it's the best of its time.
All right, well, on our Texas Instrument computer, we have a score of 246. And just recapping, that gives the wheelchair 253, the spare 233, the riveter 248, the solar heater 274, and, of course, 246 for the concrete house, which still leaves Dave Little out in front. So, for our final inventor, well, he was on the show only just 2 weeks ago. Sections of portable fencing, 58 of them, each measuring 6 foot by 3 foot, are carried upright on a specially constructed trailer. The gates are hinged together. The first few sections are pulled off the trailer, and then the others feed off as the truck drives in a circle. The sections are hinged to open to only 160 degrees, and the effect is to form a slightly zigzag fence. The fence is quite stable, even if the ground is uneven. This system of yarding can be used for drafting, drenching, classing.
I'm still working on that.
Not too expensive, though, because it's a super idea.
It cost about $1,200 in materials from when I built it.
Well, it's a great idea.
Well, the refolding is excellent, too.
Yes,
That's
that's really good.
I think the key, Jeff, is that reason there aren't such great stresses, Neville, is that
Those hinges.
there is flexing in every one of those sections, isn't there? By its very nature.
Only in the
When it's
gate
dropping
itself,
off
the
and coming.
structure
That's
of
what
the
I
gate
mean,
itself,
within
but
the gate.
certainly not in the
that's
in the
what I mean.
hinges, because the hinges don't give it all.
I can see that Vic is going to go back on the land, and he took the cloth.
International appeal.
Yes. Peter, congratulations on a very good idea. Let's ask our panel how they vote. Neville first.
Well, I've scored you, Peter, 78. I think it's the best. It's probably the only one of its type. And it's very, very original. So
Diana.
those two areas score as well.
For me, it's 85, because I just think it's a wonderful invention, and as I said, time saver, money saver, and it's going to help everybody, all those farmers on the land.
Vic.
I gave it 85 too. I think it's extremely original, practical, ready to be made, best of its type.
All right, well, that gives us a total of 248, Peter. And that makes Dave Little from Mount Isa with his solar tracker the winner of the ABC Inventors Award for 1978. He will receive the ABC Award, $3,000 from the Rural Bank, and industrial innovation developers will fly him to Geneva for the 7th International Exhibition of Inventions. Well, congratulations to you, Dave. That's really tremendous. That really is great news. It really is. Now, what I'd like to do now is just have the award presented to you. And in order to do that, I've just got to say one thing. The one regret that I think we all share this year is that Leo Port is not with us. And so we've asked his son, David, if he will come and make the award of Inventor of the Year to Dave Little. David Port, good evening and welcome.
Dave Little, congratulations on winning the ABC's Award for the Inventor of the Year 1978. Your invention, the solar heater, is certainly worthy of this award. The Inventors program itself is now completing its 9th successful year. The show is not only entertaining and one of the ABC's most popular programs, but it also provides a community service by giving help, publicity and encouragement to so many people with new and exciting ideas. The stars of this show are the inventors themselves. They come from all walks of life, their only credentials being a lot of imagination and determination to bring their ideas to the stage where we see them on this show. Thank you very much to Beverly Gledhill, the producer, for the very nice thought of inviting me here to present the award as a tribute to my late father, who is still so much part of the program.
Thank you.
With great pleasure, Dave Little, I present you with the ABC's Award for the Inventor of the Year 1978.
Thank you, Dave.
And finally, I'd like to present Dave with a copy of the book, Australian Inventors, which was written by my late father and has just been published. Dave?
Thank you.
David, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Dave Little, congratulations. I hope you have a lovely trip to Geneva with industrial innovation developers. To the panel, who, of course, have been here, most of them, for 9 years and look it a bit, I suppose. Well, from all of us, what is there to say except good night to you all. We hope to see you again next year.
And stay with ABC for our holiday special.